Hey guys, welcome to the stream here. It is 6/6/2017, and we're talking Organovo. We got some really cool folks on the line here, and hopefully some people that are going to join. We're just excited to be investors, and you know, uh, we're going to chit chat about Organovo and see where it takes us. It's my cousin Matt on the line here. Matt, you want to introduce yourself, and then we can pass the ball around and see what's up.
Sure. My name's Matt. I'm from Baltimore. My cousin Pat and I have been talking about this almost every other day for the last couple of years, and I'm excited about the prospects for Organovo through the pharmaceutical contracts that they have for toxicity testing, and also the therapeutic tissue and the skin tissue. There's so many opportunities for it that I think it's a great company to be along with. So. Yeah, go ahead, man. Soul Rebel.
Yeah. My name's actually
So,
Sean. Um, Same as Matt, first time caller.
Yeah,
I been involved since about the same time, 2013. Happy to be here. Just interested in the technology and what the future may hold. So
yeah,
Yeah, so one of the things I'm really excited about, and I'm hoping to get there is Thursday, is a Jeffries Healthcare Conference, and the new CEO will be speaking, and it seems to be the first time that we're going to either hear or, you know, anything about this guy. I mean, I've looked him up, researched him, and I'm
you
kind of
didn't
like
find anything,
crossing my
did you?
fingers. Have you guys come up with anything on this guy?
What about you, man?
nothing. It's been. I mean, obviously the detail that's out there, that's public information, is there. I jumped on it the day it happened, but
Mhm.
it hasn't been like a huge positive for me where it's been like, yeah, we have this great new leader, because it's quite frankly he's been quiet, right? So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and I mean, you'd figure there'd be some sort of YouTube or something, that you could just get a sense of the mannerisms or I don't know, something that you feel like you could grab, and there's nothing. So it is an interesting opportunity for you, Pat, to get in there and maybe get some video. It's a tall
Yeah.
order, but if there's anybody that can sneak into a conference, I think it's you. Did,
Well, I think it
didn't
would.
did
I
you
think it.
didn't you
Huh?
didn't you stow away on a plane to the Olympics one year?
I stowed away on a
That's right.
plane. Done about, I don't know, 10 Super Bowls, 10 World Series, a bunch of stuff. But this
Yeah.
might be a little different task. But I put in for yeah, why not? Um, I put in for a press pass. So I'm hoping that's going to potentially get me in there. If not, I have some Wall Street friends that might be able to slip me in, or I'll just go, combat style
Yep.
and just sneak in. Um,
Yeah.
as long as they're not on the lookout for like the next Unabomber. One of my friends was like, "You look like the Unabomber, dude." I'm like, man, ah, man, I'm a good guy. Um, so hold up, just doing a little technical dealio. Here we go. So yeah, I mean, I think it's so important when investing in a company to get a beat on the guy that's running the show. I mean, I was really impressed with Keith Murphy, and that was one of the reasons why when my cousin Matt um, had mentioned Organovo, I watched it for about 6 months, and thank God I did because I know he got invested um, probably in the teens. Matt, was it like
uh,
12,
yeah, I
13 or
mean,
something, 13, 14, 15? I don't
well,
know.
no, it was before the first run up, so I guess I was coming in at about 7 or something like that, somewhere 7, 8, 9. Then it was like 11. Then it was like, it went over that hump and it went down. And there's a certain point at which the conviction says the stock market is not, it doesn't match it. So your dollar cost, in my mind, it was dollar cost averaging because I'm in it. Because once I was in it, I'm in it, in it. I always thought of it as a 10-year investment, not like a 2-year investment. I'm not looking for a spike and get out. And that's just my thing. I'm along on this. So,
Right.
um, it, you know, but it's really, we've talked about this, Pat. It's really strange to have it had run up to 11 before they even had a product, and then have it be manipulated down, and
Right.
see that Wall Street doesn't have a hold of it, and they've got, what did they say, 12 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies contracting. I mean, you and I know the L'Oreal, the contract, Merck Pharmaceuticals is,
NIT, Phil Knight Cancer Institute. So many great partnerships, and the science is just
yeah,
amazing.
they got
And
Yale, Harvard,
Well, that
that's,
run up was insane, no doubt. But it
yeah,
was also on the tailwinds of the entire 3D printing industry,
yeah, that's
Sure.
true.
thinking that they should have been grouped into that uh, category, where in reality they're a biotech company, right?
Yes. Yeah.
At least in my opinion, that's their primary function as an organization. They're in biotech. They're
Right.
stationed geographically in the biotech capital of the world. They just happen to be creating biotech that's used with 3D printers that they've created, which is awesome. Obviously, that's part of it. It's a huge part of it. But that was 2012, 2013 when 3D printing was like,
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
and no doubt the run up was great, but it wasn't realistic.
No.
Right.
A
So,
lot of people got really hurt.
yeah. So,
Absolutely. And I did my first 3D print about 15 years ago. So I was one of the pioneers of the actual 3D printing aspect. And I've been waiting. I'm like, this is going to take over the world. This is amazing. It's going to,
yeah.
this is one of the
It
reasons why
is. It is.
it led Matt to where his research brought on Organovo. But I invested, fortunately, in a company called Arcam. And Arcam is a 3D metal printing company that's now getting bought out by GE, but that tripled its money. And, you know, GE is now grabbing them, and I'm sure they're going to be doing wonderful things. But the technology itself is amazing. So now to see it go over to bioprinting is just, for me, it's like, whoa, like, I don't know anything about any of this, this science. So little by little, being interested in it and just taking little bits and pieces, I start to feel like I know a little bit more every time I dive in. And from my basic knowledge and what I read and what I see is just, I can't not think that this science is going to save many, many, many lives, and that it's going to be adopted in a larger scale. The FDA might take it in as a new testing because the animal model's not working. The whole world's changing right now, and I don't think people are into seeing animals being tested on, you know? And
Well,
since this is an alternative, and that it's not even just an alternative, but it's something that performs better, they get better results. I think it's a slam dunk, especially at the price that
yeah,
it is right now.
and they brought up that that recent report from Merck, their long-term deal with Merck Pharmaceuticals. Merck gave them 10 compounds that had initially gone through the current mouse testing or whatever, and they failed. And they did them like blind study, but they were all drugs that had made it through the current methodology. And Organovo picked up 7 out of 10 of the ones that fooled the current, testing method. So that's powerful results that it's going
Right.
to catch many more misses, than it's more predictive, and
Right.
it's going to save the pharmaceutical companies hundreds of millions of dollars.
When you look at
So I
it,
think it's good.
and you see, does anybody in their right mind think that a mouse is like a human? Granted, it's a living thing, so is a plant, but I don't know. This stuff is supposed to be pretty representative of a human tissue, so it seems pretty likely that
People are talking.
that is what's that?
People are talking in response to the
Okay,
chat.
we got some people online here, but I don't know. It seems
Oh,
pretty
great.
pretty representative of the the true science of the true human being, like what a kidney tissue or what a liver tissue is all about. So, I don't
Yeah,
think
native tissue.
I don't think a mouse represents that myself, but I could be wrong. So David D, what is Organovo? Matt, what is Organovo?
So Organovo is a 3D bioprinting company. They use a 3D printer to use human cells and print them in the right XYZ axis so they can print human tissue. And like the liver is made up of stellocytes and two other cells. They print three different cell types, and the cells, when they're grouped together in approximately the right architecture, they bounce up against each other and they wake up. So, and then the tissue is alive and they've tested it past 42 days so far. And so it's predictive, and it's shown that the drugs that they test for toxicity, it picks it up. So that's why Organovo prints human tissue and skin tissue, and they partner with pharmaceutical companies for drug testing, for toxicity testing.
And let me just give it.
And they're getting, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say they started with toxicity testing, but then they also created disease tissue. So they took this liver tissue and they made fatty liver disease, and they made it disease so they could test drugs against the disease for efficacy. And then they're also just recently in the last year bought 2 mass spectrometers so that they can test drug metabolism through the liver tissue. So that how does it affect and break down into its metabolites? So there's 3 different types of testing that pharma can do with it. That's the liver tissue. They also then in the last year announced their kidney tissue. So that, and nobody has that. That's amazing. And then they print skin tissue, and they can print tumors and other things.
So let me just, first let me make a disclaimer. We're just kind of an offshoot, we're just some investors chit-chatting about the science and the company itself. There's nothing, we have nothing to do with, other than being investors in the company called Organovo, which is the ticker symbol ONVO. But so I went to Wikipedia and I'm looking at Organovo, and basically it says that Organovo is an early stage medical laboratory and research company which designs and develops functional three-dimensional human tissue, also known as 3D bioprinting technology, for medical research and therapeutic applications. Organovo was established in 2007 and is headquartered in San Diego, California. The company uses its internally developed NovoGen MMX Bioprinter for 3D printing. So I can tell you firsthand, I've been there to the actual Organovo headquarters. I've toured the facilities. I was very impressed. They have a clean room. They are very serious about what they do. And one of the things that attracts me, and which I think is awesome, is the fact that the people that have started there, they're still there. No one's like jumping in for a couple months, jumping to another company. They're like, wow, this company is amazing. I love working for them. And they're staying there to complete the their goals or whatever they're doing, but they're not leaving. So they're adding people, and I think they have what is it, like 110, 112, 112 employees? I don't know. They got a burn rate. They got a burn rate of like 30, like in the low 30s. They're 33, 34 million. Granted, and I think the problem right now is all about revenues. So at the moment, the revenues are, I forgot what the first year was, but it was less than $1 million.
Yeah, it's like 880 or something like that, or I think it was 800. I don't know. You can look it up. Yeah.
Sean, do you know what it was by any chance?
Under $1 million for sure.
Yeah, so it was like, I think it was like 0.6 or something like that, and then they did a 1.2, and now the earnings come in tomorrow. So something that we're really waiting on, but I mean, they're thinking anywhere like in the low 4s. But when you look at 1.2 1 year and then 4 million the next, that's quite a bit of a jump.
Yeah, it's funny is there's people that continuously try to imply that they're not a real organization, that they don't know what they're doing, that people that are, proponents of what they're doing are investors like ourselves, are fools to be invested in a company that isn't real. But I mean, looking at the revenue growth, sure, that's great. You dig a little bit deeper, you read an interview from a guy that got hired there not long ago from a community college in the California area, who said in the interview for a magazine publication that the interview process was 4 different separate interviews on 4 separate days. Each of them was like 3 hours. And during those interviews, he had to meet with like 8 people across the organization each time. And
Wow.
these are people going through excessively, strenuous interview processes just to be a lab technician. And these aren't.
Right.
Well,
This is not.
Dude, I went, and I meet this beautiful woman. She's the secretary. And I'm like, when I get in there, she's multitasking. She's doing what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at, Wiki, I'm looking at this. I want to show you guys something. And, but she's super multitasking. And I have a great conversation with her. And she's really well spoken. She's like Spanish chick. She's very presentable. She's got a master's degree.
Right.
I was like, you got a master's degree and you're a secretary? Like, what? She works for Organovo.
yeah, and I was just going to say, that's that kind of strenuous interview process for that lab technician. You think about,
That's beautiful.
that's one thing. We were talking about how the new CEO, we haven't really learned much about him, but I have to look at the board of directors and who is it, Ken Malay or something from, I don't know. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that the board of directors is a bunch of heavy hitters from inside the biotech industry in San Diego. And I believe that they have a reason, very good reason, why this guy is the right guy for CEO. And I don't think they're playing games. And this guy's got to be, from that's a little side conversation, but it's like some of his skills has been taking drugs through the FDA. So that might be for the skin tissue that they're going to submit as a new drug application for 2020. That he might be that guy that can help, really push that through, and also to connect with the CRO industry to test for it.
Right. So I just looked at one of the last reports or articles or whatever that I saw was Organovo has 110 employees. And I do believe it's anywhere from 30 to 34 $1 million burn each year, and we're probably going to bring in at the very low 4 million this year. Keith Murphy, who I think was an amazing CEO, he's just very well spoken and someone that I was like, one of the reasons why I thought it was a very attractive investment is because of him and the way that he spoke. And I'm hoping this new guy is equally as passionate about their future and the technology and science and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm looking at here is let me see if I can share it. Boom. Okay. You guys see that?
Not yet. Something was connected. Oh yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Let me put my glasses on now.
Okay. So this is just kind of rough. So just I'm just.
This is great.
So I just made this little worksheet. I made it a while back. It might have been probably early 2015, but they had 77 million in cash reserves. All these numbers are probably a little different than they are now. But at that point, the cost, I was thinking that this is all my numbers. So this is not this is just stuff I was making up out of my head. And I was like, okay, cool. So it costs them 40 million. They make 2 million. Cash reserves are 77 million, Then I was like, okay, 2016, the cost is 36 million. So the costs were actually, I was thinking, my projected, and I'm just kind of like, just, throwing things out there. I don't really know a whole lot, but I was thinking, okay, the cost of 36 million, sales were 7.5. This would be 2016 where we're at right now. So it's only going to probably be about 4 million. So 7.5 is 3 million. 3 million. I was wrong by 3 million, but I think they're only having like costs of 32 million. So I save on costs, I lose on sales, so they have 48.5 million left. So I was going along that route, but when you look at it and I'm somewhat close.
Well, the
I'm not too
conversation,
far.
the conversation that we were talking about back then, I remember, was okay if they just double their sales every year. How fast do you reach profitability? Because once you hit profitability, Wall Street takes off, right? That's the idea. So we were
Right.
trying to figure out by doubling sales, but somehow from 2015 to 16 we tripled sales, I guess.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, if you doubled it, it would be, let's say
this
it's 4 now, then it would be 16 in 2017, right? Or no, I'm sorry,
no,
8
it'd be 8. It
and
would
then
be 8.
16.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, but what I'm saying is this is the first chart that I ever made. I've never changed it. So
Hmm.
7.5 would be 15 because I'm giving them costs of 40 million, but they're not spending 40 million. They're spending in the low 30s. So it's pretty close. And what you said, and to speak of what you're talking about, Matt, if they're only making 4 million, then it's 8 million, then it's 16 million, then it's 32 million, then it's 64, then it's 128, then it's 256, and so 516, and so on down the road. When you're only having costs of this little, there's a lot of startup costs. So in 3 or 4 years, or probably 4 or 5 years, where does it take you? In my chart from the very beginning, I'm kind of really on it. When you look at the costs, because I added to the cost, but we're not really adding to the cost right now. So you're looking at what I was thinking is 2021, you're looking at $266 million with a cost of 60, which is probably not even going to be close to that. But, um, you're looking at pretty significant numbers right there. And I probably shouldn't
Yeah,
even show that chart, but it's just something that I was
well,
saying, what I was thinking of at the very beginning, and
yeah,
it's really not too far off. So like here you have 32 point. This was on the last call that Keith Murphy was talking about. We have 32
mm,
to 34 million burn per year. You know,
mm,
that's
yeah,
when you go up to my chart in 2016, I put 36 million. But this was my
yeah,
first inclinations, and it shows that I'm not too far off. 2017, are we going to have 40, or we're going to probably have still we'll probably hold at 32 million.
yeah.
So
Well, we'll see, because I think that, I don't know what Sean thinks about it, but I know that they're going to go after that liver tissue patch for people who are dying of liver disease. And they say it's a pretty hefty addressable market to go after, and it's going to help patients. But I think it's going to take some investment of capital. Possibly, they're going to have to raise some money for that. What do you think about that, Sean?
I think they've had trouble raising money for as long as I've been involved, and that's a problem. I think that a
Yeah.
lot of that trouble stems from years of bad press in the industry, despite their successful test results, despite the successful papers that have been published by pharmaceutical partners. And that's kind of frightening, looking back at Pat's numbers. His numbers are all good, but the revenue's not growing fast enough, and we don't have any financing coming in, and we're not making any money.
just
So that leads to the inevitable
Just say that we're live.
Further
Yeah,
dilution.
Yeah,
if
with the
necessary,
new link.
you know,
Just say that we're
Yeah.
live now.
question.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I mean, one thing that I see is one, it's always a question of is the science faltering? And it's not. And they continue
Yeah, no,
to,
I'm never worried about that. That's
right.
something I'm never really. I've got my faith in that. I've got my faith in the people there. I'm happy with that. I still go
Yeah.
there. I'm not going anywhere. But
And a great thing is, no, and I'm with you, is I've been on the conference calls trying to get, I'd love to set up a meeting with their patent attorney guy to
right,
really do a run of the patents, because there's 25 foundational patents and another 114 patents that are pending worldwide or something. Like, I want to understand that. Like, wow, really? What are
they
they?
didn't even have a patent attorney guy until just recently.
Right.
And that's if they got one, which I think they did. But that ad
They
was
did.
just
They
posted
stayed.
not in the past year.
Yeah, and the last conference call with Steve Kunzabu that we did, he said that the guy was new, and I said, well, look, can we do a conference call with him? You know, and just kind of have us do a run through. And he said he was really busy right now, but we'll so we'll see. But the knowing that he's there, that's just one thing. So you've got the science, you've got the patentability, and then they still have doubled their sales though, right? So they went from, 6 to, 1.2 to 4, right?
Sure.
Something like that. So if they continue on that trend, it's just an extra year that we're talking about from Pat. Well, without dilution for the need for the tissue patch. The tissue patch could be a partnership with a heavy hitter that could help see that through. Or it could be that they're going to need to raise money, and but if the science is good, that might be a great opportunity to buy more shares. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, if you're in,
It's not crazy. It's good to buy shares anytime it's under about right now.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
I mean,
buying every month. Yeah.
when you look at what the potential of a L'Oreal deal is, I mean, L'Oreal spent on the record $1.2 billion to create skin, and it was only like a dollar bill size of skin
For like the whole year, they
for the
had
whole year.
like 12
Was it
scientists working in a
was it?
swimming pool. Yeah,
I think it
and
was
they
even more
get
than that. They had like a whole complex that they built for them to try to figure out how to create skin. And now here we are making functional
That's a
tissue.
good point. That's a good point. And on that, I was mentioning to Pat earlier. I don't know if you saw it, Sean. Um, I don't know if you watched the webcast of what's this?
3D heals.
No, the CFO's presentation to an investor group, Cushman or whatever, Craig Cushman.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, we'll go to it's pretty cool because it's another slide deck that they have, which you've seen the slide decks before, that kind of shows what they do, what the addressable market is. But it was really cool. The skin, they said they recently completed the second stage with L'Oreal of their contract, and that they were, talking about this next phase. So that made me think that maybe there were some royalty payments out of that second phase that maybe would show up in these numbers, which would be great.
I love all the different avenues. I love their tentacles are over here and over there, and you talk about the metabolism, and I think the number there, or the possibility there, was even doubling the existing possible revenues from liver or kidney toxicities with the addition of the metabolism testing, which I don't know anything about it, but
Exactly. And for somebody that's just joining in this call, they've got toxicity contracts with 12 of the top global 25 pharmaceutical companies. So they've already got those contracts, and then it's just an upsell to say, okay, let's look at metabolism. What else do you want to look at? It's like an added benefit to those very picky clients that are very serious about their work. They see this as a real benefit. And plus the kidney, you got liver, that's how they started, and now kidney they are going nuts over because there's no testing for kidney
Yeah.
toxicity, and now there is. So
And I like that Merck put out a white paper or two. I'm not even sure about that, but they've also recognized revenue from multiple stages of the contract that they have in place right now. This is also a multifaceted long-term agreement, and this is Keith. I guess this is from their conference call as well. And we hope to provide more detailed information as the deal progresses. So Merck, J&J, you know, these are
yeah,
some.
Bristol Myers Squibb, Astellas, they're part of the thing though is and it gets into the press that we're talking about, Sean, is that they are dealing with clientele that are very private about the contracts that they engage in. So there are often clauses in the contracts where they can't say that they're doing all this work with a major pharmaceutical company. It's nice that Roche and Bristol Myers Squibb and L'Oreal and Merck have said that they're in partnership and have published some of the papers of their findings. But there's many other that are just quietly in contract, and they're not allowed to say that they're in. So it's a different type of industry than, like, say, Tesla or something like that, where they can go out and just blast
Well,
it everywhere.
well, that's an interesting comparison because you say Tesla, right? Well, Tesla builds cars, and we've been building cars now for 100 some odd years. These guys are doing something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
So the adoption rate on the technology itself and being able to convince an entire industry, not to mention an industry that's much bigger than the auto industry, of something new that could help in such a vast.
Well,
It's hard.
I don't think you have to look too far. And I mean, we're in the good old US of A, where the FDA has been just this big beast that's kind of paralyzed with the bureaucracy. And if you look over to Japan and you look over to China, what they're doing, and they are adopting regenerative medicine therapies very quickly.
Sure. Well,
So
we've got our footprint in Japan.
yeah,
Keith was big on somehow, and I'm not. Again, we haven't heard much about what's happened there. Was it Aspect Biosystems or one of those groups over there? We don't know much about that relationship, but
It might just be sidestepping the FDA, really, because I mean, I think that the regulations and stuff and the ease of kind of like, I think Trump with this new administration, they're trying to fast track. You know, I had heard something.
I hope so. They have a new
I,
FDA chief. We'll see.
I had heard something about if it's that there was going to be some stuff changing, if it's if someone's about to die and it's a terminal illness, that you can basically do whatever you want. I don't know if that's just a rumor or whatever that I heard, but there's just so many little things that point to this company being able to springboard into the next level. But when you have Merck and J&J and Squibb and all of these companies behind us, as well as a lot of these educational facilities, Clemson and Wake Forest and
University of Virginia and
Yale,
Harvard and
Harvard.
Yale.
When you have all those when all those companies are behind us, and kind of doing the research along with our scientists, I don't know. I feel like something good can come up. And Sean, what you were talking about is cars have been made for a long time, and this is a new technology, but it's a tested technology, a tested science that is actually they're reaping the benefits. I mean, this stuff where they're taking kidney tissue, printing it, and then slapping it on a mice or a mouse whose kidney is all banged up, and they put this tissue on there, and the mouse is
I think that's the
continue to
liver
live.
tissue that we're talking
Oh,
about.
so it's liver tissue first. You're right. So liver tissue, you put a little liver tissue onto a mouse liver, and it's living and it's working and it's got blood flow and that kind of stuff. That's pretty intense right there. So
Yeah, and I
when are
think
we
they've
allowed?
actually done 2 studies now with animals where they grafted. It's not even a graft. They put it on the patch on the liver, and it is perfusing and getting blood supply, and it also is expressing certain cholesterol markers that are shown because it's the human tissue. So it shows that it actually helps in the function of the organ. It's not just on there. It actually has some of the markers that are only unique to that tissue. So any scientists that are listening, it's worth reading the Organovo, you know, tissue testing of the liver with animals, small animals.
I believe
Oh
it
no,
also, the age of that test, the second test, the result of it was much longer. Um, the tissue was much more viable at a longer date. So whereas the first test was like days where it showed these results, the second one and the
Yeah,
most recent one is like we're almost up to, I forget, it's weeks.
yeah.
right,
And this
right.
was presented at this SOT, whatever that
Yeah, Society of
Society of
Toxicology.
Toxicologists, yeah, which
Right.
is the gigantic um, conference that is held every year. It's a global conference. So this
I
is
mean,
great science. It's amazing.
what are they gonna announce? Are they gonna announce anything Thursday? I mean, it's just like you have earnings first, and then I just don't understand.
Well,
I
they
just don't
did get
understand it.
that one thing. If anybody that's listening, they did guide lower from the original numbers of the year because some of the contracts, the client came back and asked them for like more specific stuff. It kind of they count the money, they count the contracts at the end of the contract, not when they win the contract. So some of the clients in the middle of a contract ask for more data with different cell lines like that sort of stuff. So that's going to push the earnings to next fiscal year or whatever. Yeah. So what we're going to have is that to me, there may be, so to your point, Pat, your question about the earnings, it may be that, we're kind of like right at the spot this year, but just imagine those, it's like a backlog. When you've got the backlog of contracts moving into next year, that supports the theory of just constantly doubling revenue all the way through because you're going to have those contracts be counted at the beginning of next year.
No, I
So,
agree with you. My point for doubling revenues was just on the fact that Keith Murphy said we should see triple digit growth for many years to come.
mhm.
And I think he's not one of those guys that's trying to deceive anybody. I think he's very forthright and very well spoken. So when he says triple digit growth for many years to come, what does that mean? 3 or 4 years? Okay, I'll take triple digit growth. Let's say it's 100%. Well, it did more than 100% from last year to this year. So what does that mean? And why? So like, why is it $3 compared to being $14 or $12? 3 years ago when they didn't even have a product. I don't understand the whole. I
I
just
think
don't
that
understand it.
I think where we'd be at right now, had we not had to hear about revenue pushed off
Mhm.
and pushed off of the last quarter, and the expectations kind of brought down to where they were, I think we'd be probably closer to $5 today had that call not gone as badly as it did from a, I don't know, from a convincing standpoint. Keith was great. Keith's stupid intelligent. We all know that. He did a great job. There were some communication issues, I think, with how investors like ourselves and all the other individual investors that have put their faith in this company. I think it's been hard for them to convince us and to convince the outside world that 3 times or 2 times revenue growth every quarter is going to continue.
Yeah.
So I think
Sean,
Taylor's going to have to do that, no doubt.
do you think that it's part of it is too that the guys that are like founding this were really like scientists and like people in the biotech world that started this and
Sure.
really didn't have the
absolutely
Wall Street touch or the Wall Street connection. So they were more focused with, and I kept saying this to Pat, who is the customer? Their customer is not the Wall Street investor or the average investor. They're in the science world. Like their customer is that decision maker at a pharmaceutical company. So they built all their relationships inside of pharma and science. And that's why you have 12 of the top 25 global companies partner with them. So, and all these partnerships that we're talking about. But I think that the Wall Street connection left behind, so I don't know if, plus the fact that they can't really publicly disclose who they're working with all their clients necessarily.
Sure.
So it kind of creates this science heavy. Like if I look on LinkedIn and all the scientists that I'm connected with on there and stuff, like things are happening inside of tissue, and you just see that in regenerative medicine across the board, there's all kinds of stuff happening, including bioprinting. But it's just not part of the mainstream, really. Although it was, it was written up in Time magazine and Popular Science and everything. So
and that
it's
not
just
being
funny.
part
It
of
just hasn't really.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that not being part of the mainstream and being fresh and new and not familiar to some of these pharmaceutical types is what leads to a call like the last call where we had the unexpected, because nobody could have predicted the having to move that revenue, right? You and Pat, I had no idea that was coming. I was kind of looking forward to a positive call. So there's always going to be that unexpected, right? And I think
definitely.
A lot of that has to do also with how the company's managed. Having scientists run the entire company with not too much, market experience, not too much experience convincing investors like ourselves and outside investors that this is a positive. Stick with us. You got to have somebody that's familiar with doing that.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely a passion because the people are staying there, so they're not moving on to other companies and going, because there's a lot. I mean, they're basically the first 3D bioprinting company. They own all the patents. They own all that stuff, right? So they're the first, but the people are staying there. The people are staying there. So there's more competition coming in, which competition makes the market better. Expands the market, which is a good thing. Competition is a great thing. It's great. Competition is awesome. Well, the competition must be going on LinkedIn and saying, hey, Johnny, you're over at Organovo for X amount of years. We need to absorb your knowledge. So come over here. What are you getting paid? You're getting 80, we'll give you 120. People aren't leaving, which means that they're so passionate, that they're so invested in their goals and what the future holds. That gives me some confidence. I mean, I'm really looking at this as a CEO. Like, I want to hear him talk. I want to see his swagger. I want to see what he's made of, his confidence. And because Keith Murphy was an amazing speaker, I had so much confidence in the guy. I'm like, this guy is our guy. I was like, great, awesome dude, So, I mean, I'm thinking for my own company, can I be any more like this guy? I mean, like, wow, he's so well-spoken and I want to be like him. Now, all of a sudden he falls off. Well, I've kind of passed my prime. I'm more of an entrepreneur.
He's not falling off.
No, but it means he's the board of director guy. I understand it.
He's
But I'm
moving
saying,
on.
He's
Yeah.
moved to the side, and he said, "Hey, look, I'm going to let someone better than me come in and take my place, and I'm going to move to the."
I don't know if he's saying that he's better than him. I'm just saying
Well, he's
he
saying
he
he's saying I'm
he's
not.
got more time to go to different conferences and stuff and promote. I mean, he right after he said that, he was over at that conference that Jennifer Chen put on, right? The
Yeah, it was
bio
amazing,
something,
and it
and it
was
was great.
amazing.
She posted video, and it was perfect. I mean,
Yeah, it
it
was
was
amazing talk. But I mean, look, he's still the chairman of the board, and he owns a ton of the stock. So
yeah.
he brings in somebody that can do what he's not able to do, or that doesn't want to do, or whatever, right? So I think that's pretty cool. I just want to see this guy, and I want to hear, I want to like feel his passion, because the science and who they have involved, and the accounts that they've been able to get, 12 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies, plus so many other people, plus so many partnerships from the Michael J. Fox Foundation to, Phil Knight Cancer Institute, to changing the game where it was an animal model. Now it's not so much of an animal model. When their little tests, aren't really standing up to what we got going on. So I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. I just can't figure out how the price works. And I guess it's
Yeah.
all about earnings. I mean, I guess like tomorrow is the big call. What do you think? What do you think they're going to report? I mean, you guys have any predictions on what you think that they're going to come out with tomorrow?
This is it. This is the Price is Right, man. What do you think,
I really,
Sean? Why
have,
did
I,
you
I really have no idea. Like I said, I mean, I always have to be prepared for the unexpected, but hope for the
Well,
best.
we're not going to come down there or up there to New Jersey and do anything about it. You don't have something. I mean, like, you think it's going to be 2 million, 3 million,
No,
4 million?
No,
no, I don't.
we already have X amount in the bank. I'm not sure what that is.
What
For
do you
the
have?
first, we already have 3 quarters in the bank, correct? So we're waiting on the fourth
Correct.
quarter. The fourth quarter is what is up in the air.
Yeah, I think the fourth quarter by
Yeah.
itself is going to be under 1 million.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
By,
but
by
what do we have in the bank right now for this year?
I don't know. Do you know? Where's Lena when you need her?
Yeah, where are these smart people when you need them?
Well, she's an accountant, right? So she would know.
Yeah,
So
I go on feel, and right now I'm feeling like the first 3 quarters were pretty great, and the fourth quarter, all signs point to, not so great. But I think there's a little bit of a bluff in there, so they're going to do a little surprise. So I'm going to say for the full year of 2016, I'm saying 4.3 total. That's
all right.
low.
Well, this is tomorrow, So I'm gonna go at 4.
You're going
I'm
low
gonna go with
balling,
4.
huh?
Well, I'm gonna
Sean?
win this thing, buddy. I'm
Sean, are
not
you
looking
splitting
to
the middle?
like.
Are you splitting the middle, Sean, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll do 4,000,001 penny.
4 million and 1 penny. You
Nice.
son of
Oh,
a man, you suck.
No, I'm kidding.
you get
No,
anything under.
I think 4.3 is reasonable, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
All right, that's cool.
You want to
But
split
So
the
we're in
you
the
want to split the
ballpark.
middle? You want to split the
No,
middle,
he
Sean?
topped you, man. He just went
Oh,
4.3.
okay, that's good.
You didn't hear
I
him?
said
then
I
he
said
said
4.3.
he said
You
4.
said 4.2.
No, I said 4.3.
I wrote it down.
Oh,
Maybe it's that beard.
I
You heard
agree.
3?
I agree with Pat. How about
Yeah.
that?
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll work. I can argue
I'm,
because he's my
I'm,
cousin.
and if we hit that number or anything kind of around or even between Matt, what you said, I'm happy. I would be even more happy with just positivity oozing out of the call.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the
Yeah.
move. That's it.
Well,
I mean, imagine if this guy
those
comes in. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say those contracts that they had to push to next year. It's not like the contracts went away. they actually are still going to get counted, but
Mm.
not at the time that this is happening. So I'm excited about it, man. I feel like, you know, so you're on,
I
Sean, for
think
the beach party that we're going to have, right? Like you're in.
Yeah, I'll be there as soon as it happens.
All right, that's good. That's
I'm
good. We're
looking at
definitely
this.
doing it.
I'm looking at the new guy coming in and just owning it. Like completely owning it. Hey guys, what's up? I'm here. I'm the
Look,
new guy. I'm ready to crush this technology. This science is amazing. Keith Murphy is by my side, so we still got him on the case. We're rolling into new frontiers. Here, like, I want to see him just like raging and then going, we have 30, we've held our spending to 32 million. Sure, we did $4.3 million, but we're still doing triple digit growth. We added another three
yeah,
of the top 25 pharmaceuticals. That means we have 15th, like I'm like that kind of thing. And then I'm just like, okay, what do you want? What's the stock going to go up to? He amps it up. Now, and I'm not saying, I think Keith was like under promise, over deliver, because he was always like real steady, like, oh, and which is great because it gives me a sense of assurance, like, wow, this guy is going to be slow and steady and he's going to get where he needs to get.
this guy.
But I can feel a little bit of like a little energy from this new guy coming in and just like giving me a little spark where I'm just yelling at the TV screen, or yelling at my phone, like, what? Calling Maddie up on
Yeah,
the other line, like, Matt, did you hear that? I got two phones going on and I'm just, what? Because ultimately there's so many people that we've been able to inspire to get involved in this because we want everybody to win. Like
yeah, we do.
we're positive guys that want people to win. And what do we
Kate,
know? We don't know a whole lot because we're not scientists, right? We're not bioengineers or whatever. And it's like, okay, all we can do is go off what we hear and the feel. So it sounds great. It's amazing. Sure, we did our due diligence. I went to the place. I was sneaking around the parking
you
lots.
gotta go tomorrow and get in that place, or I mean
Yeah,
on
I'm going. I'm
Thursday.
getting in. I'm going on Thursday. I'm going on a little recon mission to this healthcare thing, and I'm going to see what's going on, and hopefully do a little cast from it. Because the more information that you have, and our information is not any different than anybody else's information that we're getting. It's just that we care a little bit more, and as technology gets a little bit better, we're able to do things like this, and we're able to put heads in a room, brains in a
Yeah,
room, and talk about things. And then some people might see some negatives, some people see some positives or whatever, but you know, we together, um, how do you define a cumulative brain power? We're all chipping in, like, oh wow, this is what I feel, this is what I feel, this is the feeling I get. And you know, I mean, great, you have Steve Kunzabu, who is their head of investor relations, but I know I have about 30 of my friends involved in this, from anywhere from, I have a guy that works with me he's basically, he comes in here with $20 every week, $25 every week. And I challenged him to come in with $25, and I said, look, you're not gonna break the chain of what you've been doing all your life. You got to change the game, change the formula, and invest. And this is a company that I think is a great investment. Come in, $20, and it will all add up. He's got like, I don't know, $400 invested in Organovo now. So it's from everyone from a $400 investment to guys that I know that are very wealthy. And all I'm doing is turning people on to something that I think is a great investment. I mean, what do I know? It's just my, you know, perception of a company that I think is great. Then my cousin's laying in my ear, and he's thank God I didn't get
I'm
involved with the
saying
first one.
bye.
You
Well,
know?
good old Pat, he gets in it too, and he thinks, it's because I'm always looking out for him. I'm sitting here at 7, like, but it's only a question of time. That's it. And if the patient investor is going to win big on this, we're going to have a big, big beach party with like, you
Sean,
know,
we would get
Black
a
Crows or something
when
playing,
when
something.
when Matt was already invested, and we would get on the phone and we would talk, and I was the guy that wasn't invested, and I have whatever, and I'm like talking to him, and we would talk for hours. Hours. What about L'Oreal? What do you think about NIH? What about what about what about them doing shampoo testing? And then what about other companies that they can sell it off of? What about makeup? What about someone that has burns? What about, and that's just like ex vive. Then you go inside. What about toxicology? Oh my God, they're making
Hey,
it much. We would talk for hours, and we would get each other pumped up, and then that would just translate to if I'm on a movie set or something, and I'm meeting with a bunch of stunt guys or something, and I'm like, hey, ultimately, we end up talking about investments, and I say, hey, look, I think this is an amazing company, Organovo. It's $2 right now, or when I first invested,
yeah, really,
it was a dollar
get out of your own
60
way.
or $1.80. You know, and Matt's like the whole
This guy,
time
this
he's
guy.
like Matt's going, wave it in, man. And every time I go, Matt, well, how do you feel with a dollar cost average of $8 or $7? He's bringing it down constantly, but he's never ever. My cousin's never ever had a sad face. He's just like, it's going to happen. It doesn't matter.
Sure,
Look
sure.
at the science. Like,
Yeah,
look where it's going. I don't care if I get involved. Even if I had a dollar cost average of 15, it doesn't matter. If these guys do what they're supposed to do, where could this go?
yeah.
Where's it going to go?
Well, that's interesting because the only early on, I don't know, Sean, if you were part of this, but some of the early investor conference calls, Keith put up a chart of only one company. There's only one company that he showed a stock chart of, and he said, "Look,
ILMN, yeah.
ILMN," and that guy Kirk Malloy is his name that's on the board that I'm talking about. He is at Illumina and is on our board. So he's of that company. And that stock split 5 times, 2 for 1, 2 for 1, 3 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 1, and went to 170 at one point
What do they do, like
when I was looking at it.
DNA sequencing? Is that something?
I'm not even sure what they do because I'm so focused on Organovo. But I know if he showed that chart and I do the same math, it gets pretty happy around here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a real opportunity for a patient investor to do extremely well with this technology, and it's going to save people's lives. We're talking
Sure.
about,
Marvin, see if
it
you
might
got some
save
more.
my life. What I was thinking about too? They've got like there was one. Did you guys see the great video of Eric David presenting it, like the orphan vector, it was like a stem cell thing, but he was presenting. It was awesome. Awesome. So
He's a good presenter as well.
Oh, amazing. I
yeah.
mean, what gets me with David, what gets me with Eric David. So I'm watching one day, and this is one of the things that I feel like is when I talk to people and I say, hey, look, I think this company Organovo, it's really inexpensive, easy to get in, ground floor, whatever. It is revolutionary on 3 different platforms. That's what he said. That's what this guy said. Eric David was like, no, it's revolutionary, but on 3 different platforms. And when someone says revolutionary, there's very few things that are revolutionary. And this one is revolutionary on 3 platforms. Outside your body skin tissue, we have L'Oreal. in vivo tissue, which is toxicology tests, pharmaceuticals testing off your stuff, and then implants. Implants could be the next phase of first tissue patches, whether it be liver or kidney patches, potentially whole livers,
Liver.
potentially whole kidneys, whatever it may be. But starting off with patches, those are 3 different platforms that we are going to be the leaders of at that science. That to me is just like that's one of the things that's stuck in me, where I don't know if it was his passion or the way that he presented it or whatever it is, but when I tell people that, and when I describe it, and I have like it really, to me, it means a lot. 3 different platforms. Revolutionary. The word revolutionary is no joke. They're revolutionary on 3 different platforms. When are you going to get involved in a company that's $3? You know? That hasn't
You're like
yet
Che
taken
Rivera
off.
right now.
Pump it up.
Shit.
I agree with you. I agree totally. And that's why I've been here for 5 years
Forever.
now.
Yeah, man.
Sean, you've been in for 5 years?
2012.
Oh my
So
God.
I got in at, what was it, maybe 2 something.
Oh,
Wrote
nice.
it all the way up. Bought. Wrote it all the way down. Bought.
Yeah, man.
Wow. And you never got out. You're just like, I'm holding.
Never got out.
That's good.
That's cool. That's
It's,
cool.
it's just
So
my
we're
cousin's mentality. It's Matt's mentality.
Yeah,
man.
I've only actually I've invested here and there in some smaller things, but I mean, two stocks I've sat in since the beginning is Organovo and Sirius Radio.
Nice.
And I
That's
bought
great.
Sirius 16 cents,
Nice.
What's that at
That's
right
excellent, man.
5.30.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I should have bought a lot more.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I'm
not
going to
against that.
renew my
It's not
Sirius
helping out today.
Radio account. I'm going to renew Sirius when it comes out again, so I can listen to my business.
It's
I
fantastic.
keep waiting for them to say bioprinting on the news. You know what I mean? Like when I'm riding in the car, so I can scream like, ah! Yeah.
now?
What do you got, Pat? Anything interesting?
Right now? I don't know. We have 11 people watching, listening. I'm not
What's
getting a
up,
lot.
people?
So people are just kind of like monitoring it. I wish. Oh, is dude coming in? Oh. So I have an Airbnb
Well, look.
guest right now, and he's a biotech writer for magazines. He's only staying 2 nights. And I was like, come join the podcast, bro. Come on, it'll be great. And he's like, well, I don't really know about the company. I'm like, well, we're just kind of BSing. Get in on it,
Yeah.
And then I go through my whole spiel, revolutionary on 3 different platforms, bro. But again, I'm not supposed to be the sales guy. I just want to know, and I want to know the character of the people that are running the ship. So tomorrow is going to be very interesting to listen to the new CEO, and I'm sure Keith Murphy's going to speak as well, which I'm hoping he will. And then if I'm at the health conference,
Is he going to be there? I don't even know if he's going there, but
I mean,
we'll find out. You'll find out.
You phone it in now.
Oh, the conference. Oh, I got you.
Conference
I
call,
thought you
you
meant
phone
at
it in.
Jeffries.
You
Yeah.
phone it in, and then the new CEO will be at the health conference. And I'd like to. So if you guys were to get in front of the new CEO, what would you ask him?
Well, you're going to get some live video, right? So I would say, hey, I'm with a bunch of investors that have been in this, company for the last 5 years. So, what would you like to say to them? And let him. That's what I would say,
Sean, what do you think? If you had a chance to say something to this guy, like if I have an opportunity to talk to him? To him, what would you say?
I mean, my thing would be trying to connect to him on a personal level so I can understand, a different facet of really where his mind is at. I think I'd be more trying to figure him out than figuring out what his goals were with the company. I think that would almost be more beneficial to me from keeping my confidence up and building my confidence up. Who is this guy? What is your goal in life? I don't know. I think I'd try to attack him on more of a interpersonal level than a business level. But either way, if you can get FaceTime with anybody there, I mean, they're so tight-lipped, right? I don't know how much new information you'd get either way. I think it'd be more about just being there in person and listening and getting a feel than anything.
I hope I have a chance to be able to do that. I'm excited to hear this call tomorrow. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And Matt, what were the other bullet points that you had for this call? I know we had talked about it last week or anything. Anything that you thought that?
Nah, it was. I said, how'd you hear about? Oh, what do you know about regenerative medicine? We kind of touched a little bit of it, and what do you think the timeline is to profitability? So I think we pretty much covered it. I feel like I'm good. You know what I mean? We can get
Right.
to tomorrow. We got the conference call, and then Thursday there's the Jeffries thing, which is going to be broadcast too. I think like webcast or something like that. So it might be worthwhile to set something up for, I don't know, do another one of these things after that, to say, hey, what'd you think about that? Or, see if we can get some other people. Yeah.
Do you think it would be worthwhile to do something tomorrow after the conference call?
Well, if you can get any information from the Jeffries conference, and it might be after the Jeffries. Well, when are they presenting? On Thursday at 3:00, I think. So why don't we do a 9:00 Thursday night? And then we could get some more people maybe, and it'll be after we get some information, so it'll be good.
I mean, we got
Because
10
we could
people.
send this.
We got 10
We could
people on
send
right
this.
now. We got
That's
10 people on
wonderful.
right
That's
now.
great.
It'd be nice to get a little interactivity, and then, I mean, and also in between time, try to figure out how we could be a little bit more informative. And right now it's kind of like a fireside chat thing, but it'd be good to hear from others, and then. Shout out to Ron Green who subscribed to the channel. Big Ron getting on the
Yeah.
deal here. So get Ron and some other guys that want to chit chat about the call. Maybe why not after the conference call? Like I know once I get off that conference call, I'm like, wow, I'm ready to just like, what's going on? It's either going to be like, what he did, what I'm not going to sell, like what. Or do I want to buy more? I can't believe I didn't buy more. I knew it was going to be, like what's going to happen? Is Friday going to go bonkers? Is it going to go like whoop, or is it going to go yeah? I think they set it up where they're under promising and over delivering. Here's the new guy. Someone had also mentioned that when a new CEO comes in, they come in and it usually goes up after someone.
That was. I met with David Goebel, who's like been around since the Pink Sheets. He actually helped them get going, and he brought up the point that his thought was that people don't often leave without setting up the guy that's coming in with some success, like making sure he's set up with some news.
Right.
Now, as soon as he came in, they had partnered with the University of Virginia for repairing muscle loss, volumetric muscle loss. So
I feel like
that was pretty cool.
I feel like I got some volumetric muscle loss in my thighs from playing soccer for some reason. I was going to the acupuncturist, but that would be such. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like they can give me a little more volume, like in my volume.
My buddy AJ's got it. His right arm.
It's like a shark
Great.
bit me in my thigh. So Brian Z says he's a big fan of after the conference call. Another one of these.
Okay. Yeah,
So
whatever
he
anybody
said,
wants. That sounds
he
great.
says a good idea, and he will be here for it. I would definitely like to get some more people. I think it would be just some of these guys. If we get like Dr. Z, some of the guys that are really involved with the science, that know a little bit more under the hood. Even Zena, or Lena. Sorry, not Zena.
Zena.
Lena. If we can get some people to tune in, that'd be awesome. I mean, I just think just talking about it is, good therapy, right? You come off a whatever this earnings call is going to be. There's definitely going to be something good to talk about. So maybe we can do it like an hour after the conference call, and then just the more and more. But what's good about just getting something up is people feel like, oh wow, there's Sean, there's Matt, there's Pat. Okay, great. I can do this. It's not hard. Awesome. Okay, great. And then let's just chit chat. Let's just talk about the science. Let's talk about the future. How you feeling? Do you like the position that you're in? And then, let it be known. So, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's a great thing, and I'm glad that you guys have joined. But we can wrap it up. And I don't know if you guys have any parting words to say or whatever, but we can move on.
That last bit you said really kind of made no sense, but it's all right. I mean, you got the beard, so you look like
What made no sense? Fill me in, dude.
What made no sense? You were like, I don't know. You look kind of like the pizza guy. I don't know.
Hey guys, I'll be here if you have another one of these as best I can.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow night. We'll schedule it tomorrow night after the conference call, a half hour or so after it ends.
Right on.
All right, Sean, be good, brother.
Okay, well,
Cool,
hold up a second.
We don't
With
all
the
have to go at the
conference
same
call,
time. We can let Sean go. I'll hold your hand for the party.
that's fine, but let's just make it 9:00. Let's make it 9:00 again, because there's people out in California that might want to join. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's later. Does it happen at our time, Eastern time? It's an Eastern time call, right?
Yeah, it's late.
Well, I guess they're listening to it. They're in the middle of the day, right?
We can do 9.
They can get off. If they get off work, they're going to get off work. It'll be like 5:00 for them, right? Or 9:00. Right?
9:00 sounds fine. I think it's great.
That's good.
I mean,
All
do you
right.
think
It's going to be 6
think we
o'clock their time.
whatever
6:00. Yeah, 6:00.
Okay. All right, we'll do 9:00, and this way it will give me time. What I'll do is try to get some of the visuals and some of the things put on, so I can kind of put them up there, and we can talk about it, and I can do a little show and tell. We'll get a little bit more techie on this one. Remember, this is
Yeah,
only
I think
our
that
second
slide
conference
deck
call.
would be cool.
Yeah, so you fill me in on that. We'll bring that to the table. We'll bring whatever they bring in, and we'll reference it. We'll maybe do some emailing back and forth and see what other people think, and then we'll just let it go. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Be
Thank you.
well. Be good.
All right. Peace.
Sean, thanks again
See
for
you
showing
guys.
up. Later,
Anytime.
bro.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
You too, Matt.